Welcome, 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 welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and record this because this is all about living in your journal 2022. And I wanted to make sure that for those who were not sure what it was, that we would have this little bit of a recording, that people would get to meet both Melissa and Mary and myself. And then next time, we're also going to meet in January. I know of a few of the other teachers. I know Seth and Manette are coming on in January, and maybe before the end of the call, other teachers will pop on here, not sure, but I know that between the two calls, all of the teachers will be represented. So we will be able to all show our faces and get to talk a little bit about what is living in your journal. And so I'll just give you a little snapshot of what I think it is. And then I'll turn it over to our other featured artists to sort of share a little bit about what their plan is for living in their journal this year. And then we will open it up for questions if anybody has any questions. And I mentioned earlier, we're going to do a drawing and for some free stuff, because free stuff is always good. I love free stuff. I love giving away free stuff. I love getting free stuff. So free stuff is always good. So living in your journal, I came up with this because I don't know about you, but I love making books. I love making books. And I just came through a year with some fantastic artists where we made books every other month. I don't know how many of you, a lot of you may have been in the Bookmaker Collective, and I love making books. There's something missing in that. I'm going to invite everyone to mute. There we go. There's something about making books but not filling them that I find unfulfilling. So it's beautiful to make books, and it's beautiful to make books and give them as gifts. But once I start collecting books that aren't filled, I start thinking like I'm sort of like not doing part of, I don't know. I start worrying about, am I just like obsessively making something and not completing it? I don't know. Maybe I'm not so worried about it, but bottom line is I love living in my books because it feels like it closes the circle on that. I love to make the book, and then I love to live in the book. And so that's why I created what I call living in your journal, because I love to make the book, like I said, but I also love living in that book and turning it into something. There's something so precious about, I'm looking around for mine. There's something so precious about having something that you've lived in, the curve that it takes, right? The feel that it has, the softness that it has with the worn of your hands, the texture of the pages, just the feeling that it has when you've actually lived in it. You've poured yourself into it, a little bit of yourself, you know, when you have some smudge on it, a little spill, you take it with you and your coffee spills on it. Man, I love that so much. The paper wrinkles a little bit, or it just is worn. It's lived in. It's not pristine anymore. That kind of stuff just really delights me. And so living in your journal is a course that I heard a lot of people say, what's next? I really enjoyed the Bookmaker Collective. I really enjoyed the gathering. I really enjoyed the community. What's next? And I thought, well, this is perfect. I just had us make a journal in the last course that is perfect for continuing on. So that is why I created Living in Your Journal. And I loved working with other artists through the year, sharing the sort of the collective energy and the creativity that came from several different sources. So it wasn't just one teacher teaching. You got lots of different flavors through the year. And that's why I invited other teachers, other artists to join me. And so you're not going to get just one person's perspective on how one person lives in their journal, but you're going to get 7 of our perspectives of how we all live in our journal. So it's not, that was one thing that a lot of people would say, well, I mean, that's great. I know you use it as sort of a semi-planner type thing. I don't really use it as a planner. I just use it in a calendar sort of way, but I And then, you know, I see Wendy using it as a planner, and I don't want to use it as a planner. It's absolutely fine. You don't have to use it as a planner. As a matter of fact, I know at least half of the featured artists are not using it as a planner per se. But the way that the journal structure that I taught, it was set up, it's simply set up that way so that it's a very approachable in size and page number, so that it's not overwhelming. It's not too big, it's not too small. There's not too many pages, there's not too few pages. And it's also very adaptable so that you can add more pages into it. Now, first question a lot of people also have is, well, what if I didn't make that journal? What do I have so many other journals that I've already made. Can I use one of them? Absolutely. This is all about use what you have. The featured artists are going to be using this structure, but that does not mean that you absolutely have to use the daily creative practice journal as prescribed with the legal size manila folders cut in half, that size, which ends up being, 7.5 by whatever it is when it's open. So no, you can use absolutely whatever you want. Absolutely. It's open to whatever, use whatever you have. So that is it for my intro. I would love to, because I know Melissa's going to hop off early. I'm going to go ahead and start with her. Melissa, can you introduce yourself?
Sure.
Let people know who you are, where you're from, and tell us a little bit about how you lived in your journal this last year. And I asked you because you were such a prolific, you shared a lot, and you used your journal a lot last year. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you.
Okay. So my name is Melissa Meverden. I am a full-time educator, artist on the side, and mom to 2 little kids. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm currently coming to you from my childhood bedroom. I'm visiting family for Christmas right now. So that's why I'm going to be hopping off a little bit early. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how I've been using the journal. So I started off with the conventional planner kind of structure that we were taught in the original course, and then quickly found myself kind of branching out. So because I'm traveling this week, I have been able to take just the signatures I'm currently working on, which I love. So I have my December signature and my January signature with me. I have not bound them into the final product yet. And I don't go anywhere without a travel bag of art supplies. So I've got those here. And I'll give you a little sneak peek at my December planner. I ended up doing a lot of different art projects throughout the month. So one of the things I did was capture some of my favorite art projects and just took little notes on the things that I was working on. I made some gifts. I had some commissions for Christmas, so I recorded those. I like to use this journal as a kind of a memory catcher, a way to kind of see and capture things that happened during the month that I might want to look back on later. I also recorded things that I was listening to, reading, watching, things that I might want to go back and look like, oh, what was that book that I remember reading last fall? I've captured all that here. I love lettering and quotes. So sometimes I'll print out or write out a quote that I love and capture that. I've been experimenting with little tip-ins and things that I can write on the back of. So I doodled on some collage papers and then journaled on the back. I've got another quote that I really love. I did kind of a scraps diary spread on this page where I just captured different Christmassy themed papers and put them together. And then for January, I don't know what I'm going to want to record, but I'm creating a bunch of interesting backgrounds right now. So I was doodling with some watercolors earlier and started drawing on top of them using kind of a reductive method. I had some stenciling on one of my pages so far. I'm thinking that I'm going to want to include some kind of pocket to capture little items in January. So that'll be my next task, is figuring out how I want to include some pockets and some little bits and pieces to put in as I move into the new year. So I'm really excited about sharing ideas. I think you get so much out of a community or an experience when you get to see those different perspectives and see how differently people use this product. And so I'm really excited in joining in that with y'all. Does anybody have any questions or anything for me before I turn things over to Mary or back to Andrea?
I love that. I was almost going to say slow down, but then that's the beauty of being in the yeah. Do you have an Instagram account?
I
Melissa, can you share
do.
your Instagram account?
Yes, I'll
You.
pop that into the chat so y'all can find me.
Also, I will pop into the chat the Living in Your Journal Teachable account. There is the Teachable School. There is a section that I'll make sure that all of the teachers' Instagram's accounts. I think that they are on the main page. I think everybody's information is up there on the main page. But yeah, thank you, Melissa, for sharing your information there. And I saw another question come up in the chat. What do you carry your travel supplies in? Sherry, hold that thought, put a pin in it, because I've got a very exciting class to tell you all about.
Oh, awesome.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Mary? Oh, but Melissa, do you have something that you carry your supplies in? Because I'm not going to steal your thunder if you have something.
I do. So currently I have a very sophisticated pouch, which is the exact kind of pouch that you would put in a 3-ring binder when you were a kid. I work in schools, so that is, what was close at hand. And I also love that it's a clear pocket, so it's really easy for me to see. And of course, you can buy these for like $1 for back to school time, but I keep my very favorite pens and a couple glue sticks in here. Normally I would carry some scissors and some little bits and pieces of paper. I also have some fabulous travel watercolors. So if you have a little mini watercolor set, that's another great thing. I find that having a small bag is great. Sometimes having limitations is what encourages us to be extra creative, right? So usually having just some black and white pens and some things I love to write with, and then maybe like a metallic marker is enough to at least, keep that itch scratched when I'm on the road and going somewhere.
Excellent. Thanks, Melissa. All right, Mary, you're up. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and how you might be using your journal this year.
Well, thank you. My name is Mary Correa. I live in Lakeland, Florida, which is smack dab in the middle of the state. And I'm a mixed media artist, instructor, book maker, book lover, book collector, book non-user. So I am in the right spot because I have so many journals and I love to create the books, and then I do feel disappointed in myself that I don't use them. So I was really excited, number one, when I saw in the Bookmaker Collective that we were going to make this journal. That was a big aha for me. I was very excited to make the journal. And then when Andre asked me to be part of it, I was even more excited. So I do not plan on using the book as a journal or as a planner. I have a day planner that I use for appointments and all that kind of stuff. And it's messy and it's not pretty, and that stuff needs to stay there. So my plan for the Daily Creative Practice Journal is to follow my artistic whims every month. So I have a couple goals next year. One is to do a lot more sketching. So I'll probably assign a month to that. I want to make sure that I'm drawing some more still lifes. So I'll have some space for that. I do want to collect some memories, maybe the things that wouldn't make it in a scrapbook, a favorite meal or something that wouldn't make it in, a family scrapbook, but I would still like to have those memories somewhere that I can get to them. So I don't have a very specific purpose. What I am enjoying about the Daily Creative Practice Journal is I'm going to have a record from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So art-wise, I can look at where I've come. Because right now I work in, I think I'm in 9 journals right now. I don't work in them consecutively. Sometimes I just do a bunch of backgrounds and then I come back later. So I don't have any one place that gives me a clear record of here's where my art was at the beginning of the year and here is where I've grown to at the end of the year. So that's what I'm most excited about using this journal for, just to be able to look back and be like, oh yeah, look, I, didn't I didn't know how to draw that building, but now I really, because I kept practicing. So it's just some way that I can give myself some pats on the back for all the work that I've done during the year. So that's what I'm most excited about. So when you look at my posts, you'll probably see all kinds of things. There may be some pictures of food. There may be some sketches of buildings. There may be some blobs of acrylic. I don't know what's going to end up in the journal, but I just am excited for the journey from January to December. So that's my plan. So I'm glad that you guys are joining us.
I love this so much. And Mary, I love that too. That's exactly how I use it. It's a creative time capsule. I love you just put that in such precise words. Like that is exactly what it is. And again, the reason that I love it so much is that the monthly pamphlet is so easy to carry around. It's not cumbersome. It's not overwhelming. I can carry it with me. It's easy to yeah, right. Melissa's got it right there. It's easy to tuck in with other things. Here's said planner, right? I don't haul this behemoth around with me. This is my life, right? I think there's actually a book stuck in here too, but this is like my day planner that has like all my business planning and all the stuff in it. That's not my daily creative practice journal. But man, if I had to go and sit in a cafe with that thing to do some business planning, you better believe I can tuck my daily creative practice journal in there to do a little bit of sketching of my cup of coffee and my, and the people walking by or whatever, to fit a little bit of creativity in, because that is what that size is so perfect for. It's so portable. And yeah, it's not anything I don't want it to be, and it's everything I do want it to be. And I'm so excited that so many people are coming along on the journey with us, because it's going to be even more like what I believe is that the more people that use this through the year, this creative time capsule, I'll take that. Thank you, Mary. I'll give you credit. This approach to just documenting your creative life through the year, the more people that are doing that, the more we're just it's this sort of hive mentality, like, ooh, Cheryl's doing this. Ooh, Kathy's doing this. Ooh, Jen's doing this. Ooh, Ginger's doing this. Ooh, I want to try that. Ooh, Rita's got this. Look at this great book that Rita read this month. I want to read that book. And look at that, Marjorie tried this thing. I want to try the recipe that Leslie shared. And it's just like this whole creative community that we get to gather together. And sorry if I didn't call your name. It's not because you're not important. It's just that my eyes are like popping around the screen. I'm just like, you get it. Like, we are community and we get to creatively live together. And yeah, super excited for that. Okay, time for questions. Anybody have any questions? I saw one a minute ago about traveling, and I've got something at the ready to show you. I'm looking around for it. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you've got a question and just ask. No, this is going to be a short call today if you guys don't have questions. Okay, let me go over what is included in the Living in Your Journal community. So for the year-long program, what you get is monthly Happy Mail. You don't have to order a single darn thing. No kits to order. It just shows up. And as a matter of fact, yeah, it just shows up. I was gonna spoil a surprise. As a matter of fact, it's showing up sooner rather than later. I shared on Instagram today a sneak peek of the stencil that is showing up for January. I'm super excited to show you, and I'll sneak peek it here too. Cute. See it there, or let me do one that's not dirty with paint. There you go.
Oh, great.
One that's not dirty with paint. And I'm going to show you lots of different ways. It looks like snowflakes. It's not. And let me tell you, it's intended to be used as a center for a color wheel or dividing up a page into 6 This is 12, 8, and 6. So mandalas, think mandalas, hand-drawn mandalas, and things like that. So it can be used as snowflakes, sure. But I did it because I use that as the center for doing color wheels or hand-drawn mandalas. So, and then numbers, gotta love some tall and skinny numbers. And even if you're not using it for numbering the days, they're just fun to include in mixed media backgrounds. And then these guys, the little dots right there, perfect for a bulleted list if you're into keeping track of things and documenting goals. But if you're not using it for lists and keeping track of things, boy, oh boy, does it look. Okay, look at this. This was the first run of like test out the stencil and see how cute it is. Look how cute that is. It's a little background, just little rows of little dots. So anyway, I'm super excited about the stencil this month, and every month something like that will show up in your mailbox. Just, you don't even have to do a single thing. You don't have to order something. And even if you live out of the country, it will show up in your mailbox. So that's one thing. And then another thing that I added, and it may seem like overkill to some people because, it's just a lot, but I really like gathering together like this. I like seeing your faces. I like asking, hey, does anybody have a good book to recommend? I like saying, hey, what should I watch on Netflix next? I like hearing about successes of, creative projects that you are doing, or I'd like to see the journal spread that you just did in your daily creative practice journal. And so every Monday at this time, which is exactly why I made this call at this time, every Monday at this time for an hour, I'm just going to have this Zoom room open and we're going to have some creative time together. And this is co-working time. It's non-instruction time. Zoom room's going to be open. You can set this up as your date, as your weekly artist date, perhaps. You just set yourself up with a time that you know that you're going to sit down at your art table and you're going to create, and you can work on your journal. You can work on whatever project from whatever program, from whatever class, your e-class you're taking or whatever you're doing. You can even, write your bills. I don't care what you do during this time, but if you just want to show up and be in creative community, that is what that is for. It's not going to be recorded because there's not really any instruction there. But that's every Monday from 4:30 to 5:30. It's just an hour, creative hour, 4:30 to 5:30 Pacific time, right? So do the calculation for wherever you are in the world. So that's also happening. So 52 weeks of that, right? Monthly, there will be a 2-hour class. So no longer do you have to block out a whole weekend, Saturday night and Sunday. That was great with the Bookmaker Collective every other month, but this time we're doing monthly. One class, it's a 2-hour class. It will alternate between me and one of the featured artists. So you met two of them tonight, Melissa and Mary. Mary is the first one up in February after me. So I'm teaching in January. And then Mary comes in February. And then Manette Riordan comes in March, and so on and so on. So in your January mailing, and also on the website, the Teachable website, which I will post right here right now. I had it in, I'll post it in a second. Actually, Mary, can you go snag that from Teachable, the link? Every other month, and that one is going to be on the third Friday. It's going to be a Friday for Pacific time. For West Coast people, it's a Friday morning, 9 a.m., 9 to 11 on a Friday morning. For East Coast, that's noon. I know timing is super difficult, especially people who still work. That is like, I know it's rough. Hopefully not too rough. That one will be recorded, so you can watch that one later. That one's going in the classroom, in the Teachable classroom, so you can watch it over and over again. That one is 9 a.m. Pacific time, third Friday of the month. Third Friday of the month, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And that's a 2-hour class. So that will be every month, third Friday of the month, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then, so we talked about weekly, we talked about monthly happy mail, we talked about monthly class. And then monthly in the classroom, there will be some pre-recorded lessons that show up. These are pre-recorded mini lessons that show up, just like Andrea's ideas of how to do maybe a mini vision board, which is one of the ones that I'm going to do in January, a mini vision board as a spread inside my journal. Or I'm going to do a way that I would collage on a tag and tip it in. So they're going to be extra mini pre-recorded videos popping up in the classroom on the 1st, and on the 15th, there will be a new one. I am all about short format videos. I don't want to give you long content that's drawn out that you're going to have to dedicate tons of time to consume. So these videos are going to be around 15 minutes long. They're going to be rich with content, don't get me wrong, but they're going to be short and consumable so that you can, sit with your cup of coffee, watch it, do it, move on with your day. So that's going to show up in the classroom twice a month. 1st and the 15th is what I'm dedicated to putting those in there, so twice a month, another extra video. And on the months that we have the featured artists, one of those videos will be from the featured artist. And so one from me, one from the featured artist. And on the months that it's me, it's just me. And I'm going to, we'll see. We may have some guest artists coming in and getting some content in there. All right. So that is the nutshell of what is provided. And we have time still for some questions. And let me see if my kiddo ever made it on here. Doesn't look like it. Maybe my kiddo did, because there's 2 pages. Any questions?
Andrea,
Yes.
if somebody wants to make the daily creative practice journal so they can work in the same one as us, is that class still available?
It is still available. And if they are not signed up for Living in Your Journal, there's actually a bundle that saves them some money. So if you are not signed up for, if you have not done daily creative practice journal, but you want to do it and you want to join us in Living in Your Journal, there is a bundle. And I can share that bundle in the chat.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ginger.
So since the class is the 3rd week of every month, do we go ahead and fill out our monthly, our little book? Do we go ahead and put in backgrounds and stuff, or do we leave it until the class?
I would leave one spread for the class. I would leave one spread for the class because the class will inspire you for at least one spread, and then maybe one spread for the next month to kind of get going. Like, I think that the class, I know intentionally, I'm going to take you through at least one spread, and then maybe some auxiliary stuff that you might want to tip in for other purposes. So that's a great question, Ginger.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Andrea,
Yes.
that's kind of along the lines of what I was going to ask. I mean, I'm looking at this great little folder, and I don't know what to do with it to begin with. I'm just seeing blank, and I don't know where to go. I guess there's so many different things that we've gotten.
Yeah,
So
great question.
I'm not quite sure what the first step is in this.
Perfect. So Marjorie, in the Teachable Classroom right now, there's some fast forward videos that give you some ideas for some weekly spreads. I am going to drop a video on January 1st in there. So
Okay.
I would just start 1 week at a time. Just open it up to week 1 and be like, what am I feeling this week?
Okay.
Right? Because there's really no right or wrong way to do it. I would, if you don't have a real clear picture, I would say don't go through and do the entire month one way.
Mhm.
Just open it up to the first week and test it out and say, how does this feel? Do I want to do this? Do I want to turn the page now next week? And do I want to try that again? Or do I want to try something different?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, sort of.
Okay. Because some people get really excited about it and they get in there and they and they do the entire month and then they're like, oh, well,
Yeah.
that didn't, oh no, that didn't quite like work for me. Or and then what? And then what do they do? I guess you could paint over it, but so it's sort of like this practice, patience, and just do one spread at a time.
Okay.
Andrew, I have a question. So even just the covers, like to be perfectly honest, I haven't had a chance to do anything since the class, but I see everyone else is like, or not everyone else, I know that's not the case. If you see people, they're like, every cover is done, it's all, so do you suggest doing covers first to get those done? Or I know it doesn't really probably matter, and I can understand the concept of, oh, great, I started it and I haven't finished it. So
Yeah, it's actually, I think if you don't know what to do next, start with your cover, right? I have maybe this will make you feel better. This is what mine looks like. I have not finished it. I have probably not touched it since class. Does that make you feel better or worse? I don't know. Like, but here's the thing. I have the entire year. This is what it looks like. It does not look any different from when, I mean, I'm totally digging the fact that a lot of people have gone in and laid out their entire year. It's the covers are all whatever titled. That's fantastic. But I also know that when the new month comes, if my month is already set, there's not a whole lot. This is the only month I have the cover done on because I wanted to do a video on the waxing. And so I needed to do one for you guys for a video. But if everything is already set, then I don't like, there's no flexibility for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so if yeah, good. Mary hasn't done anything since the class. Then there you go. If you've done everything, that's not wrong. If you've done nothing, that's not wrong, right?
it doesn't mean you need to throw it out or forget the whole thing, because that's easy to do too.
Oh gosh, no. Yeah. And that's the whole thing about living in your journal, being a community. That's why if you join the community, you're not going to forget about it because you're going to have these little touch points that are going to be like, hey, come on, let's play together. Let's just gather together. It's going to be really hard to forget about it because if you put it on your calendar at least to come to class once a month, or if you maybe every other week, make a point to pop onto the Zoom call on a Monday to see what's everybody doing, then you're gonna stay engaged and stay involved in it in some way, shape, or form. Good question. Yeah, I'm sorry to not, it's kind of like a non-answer answer. Like
I get that.
Okay. Whatever you have done is absolutely fine. And you know what? Sometimes I'll come to a cover and I'll be like, yeah, I don't like that at all. I'm just gonna add more layers. That's the beauty of it. If I'm not digging it, I can add more layers. Or maybe I get some beautiful new tissue. You guys want to see the beautiful new tissue that I got? That I'm almost afraid to use because people are going to say, where did you get it? I want to get it in bulk so that I can actually sell it. But look at this. Oh,
Oh, pretty.
it's so cute. From the big A, of course. But, black and white tissue. It's a sickness. Black and white tissue is a sickness. Okay. I did get a drawing spreadsheet. My child popped on and popped off very quickly. I just noticed that in a drawing. Let's see, open the drawing. I need a number between 1 and 31, and I am going to ask Mary Correa to pick one number, please.
I will choose number 8.
Okay. Number 8 is Ginger. Ginger's winner number 1. And Ginger, I will have you pick another number, please.
Between 1 and 31,
1 and 31.
22.
Number 22 is Melissa, winner. I think Melissa popped off already, or Melissa, are you still on? I think Melissa popped off. Marjorie, would you pick another number for me?
70.
I'm between
Oh, 1 and 50.
between
I'm
one,
sorry.
between
Sorry.
1 and 31. Between 1 and
30, okay.
31. Between 1 and
30.
31.
Whew.
30.
30.
30 it is. And 30 is Unica. Unica. I think I'm saying that right. I don't think maybe I'm not. Is that right, Unica? Yay, okay. All right, we have 3 winners. Excellent. Okay, any other questions? Did I go over everything? Kind of what living in your journal is? Are we excited? We're excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited that that I will have some, because you know what? When other people are doing this with you, it really keeps you engaged, and it keeps me accountable. Accountable in the best sort of way, because there is, there's accountable like, oh man, I gotta, like, oh, we're gonna start walking. That means you gotta show up, and we're gonna start our, walking every day. I don't like that kind of accountability. The kind of accountability that I like is, let's make some art together. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen and show you guys. Somebody said something about where do you keep your supplies? And so you can see my very messy desk at the same time as I share my screen. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen me share this video when I went on vacation. And so this is, and let me just tell you, I am revising this. So you're going to get a different version of this. This is an old version, which is why I haven't posted the class yet, but I'm giving you a sneak peek right here. This is a class that I'm going to add. I created this as an art supply on the go carrier. And what it was created for is, does this look familiar? This is our daily creative practice journal. It's made to fit that. It's one of those chicken and egg things. Did I create this to hold this, or did I create this to fit in this, right? I honestly, to this day, don't remember which came first. But this has a zipper on one end that you can keep supplies in. There's an extra pocket here. There's a pocket here. There's pockets here and here, and then just no shortage of pockets. More here. Again, this is version 2.0. We're going to do version 3.0 in class. I have an extra special different pen loop thing that's going on here that I'm super excited about. And again, I think there's like even more pockets that I'm not even pointing out here because there's so many hidden pockets. More here. The revision is going to be that this piece comes out a little bit more, because in reality, when this gets really stuffed, this just doesn't please me. So those who are sewers in the group know that needs a little, it's a design flaw. So that's going to cover a little bit more. And then Yeah, so this is a class that's coming, it's coming up in soon, January, late January maybe. It'll be a Zoom class. Supplies are going to be minimal. All it is canvas. You need to have a sewing machine, sorry. Canvas and a little bit of, there's some Velcro and elastic, but all the stuff that you use on your journals, you can use in that. The kits will be pretty minimal. And yeah, so as soon as I get that all lined up, I will let everybody know what is going on with that. My plan is to have that ready by the end of the week, because this is the sort of that twilight zone week of the year, right? So all plans may go out the window, but my plan is to do that. All right, I'm just checking the chat. When will the recording be available? Lost issues. I will, the recording for this will be up on my YouTube channel within an hour after the class is over. And I will also post a link to it back to those who signed up for it. So you will get that link if you signed up for it. All right, any final questions?
Hey.
It's taken less time than we thought, which is absolutely fine. Supply class is part of the big class or separate. It is actually separate, but people that are signed up for Living in Your Journal will get a super big discount. Let me just say that. You guys will get a super, super big discount.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's just fun seeing everybody's faces here. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend with family and friends. If you celebrated Christmas, I know this is kind of a weird, it's kind of a weird time of year, right? Like you're like, oh, I don't know. Did you celebrate? I don't know. I don't know. And it's also just touchy because sometimes people just, it's hard. It's hard for me. So I'm sensitive to that. For other people, like it's a rough time of year. So we're on the home stretch, my friends. This is my favorite time, like rolling into the new year, because man, I love a fresh start at the new year. It's like, I love Mondays. I love the new year. I really do. I love the fresh start, the beginning of something new. It is just going to be amazing. I am super, super excited about the calendar turning over January 1st. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, congratulations, winners. Have a wonderful evening, night, rest of your week, my friends. I'll see you somewhere on the internet. And those of you who have already signed up for Living in Your Journal, thank you, thank you, thank you. I will pop in some more video content for you to hold you over until the 1st, and then there will be a video coming on the 1st. And my child and I will be painting envelopes to send your stencils in, because I've got a roll of stamps and a bunch of stencils with your name on it and labels all printed out. So stencils are coming this week. So that is happening. And that is it. That's a wrap for today.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.